Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, welcome. I'm Pytor Alexievich, and I am here in Kyiv. It is 5 a.m., and I got woke up by some air raid sirens. It's the day after the second strike by the Ukrainian armed forces on the Kerch Bridge, and so we expect that Herr Putin is going to throw a temper tantrum today. He did last night. Odessa was hit by Iskanders and drones because, of course, the grain deal. The grain deal, right, where the Russians say they won't blow up ships full of food destined for an insecure Africa, a food insecure Africa. If we give them other concessions, blah, blah, blah. Such nonsense. So they're out of the grain deal. The Kerch Bridge has been hit. In the north, there are 100,000 troops up around the Crimea area pushing hard to cross the Oskil River. It's not a good situation. It's not a good situation at all. Ukrainian armed forces are repelling these attacks, but they are sending wave after wave of infantry in. All along the rest of the front line, the Ukrainian armed forces continue to chip away at the front line. They took more ground yesterday just south of Kyiv than the 100,000 Russians in the north have managed to take in the last 2 days of pushing. So that's the current situation. I've been meaning to do another Who Am I video because the first one, it was the first one, right? Your first one is never your best one. And this is Wednesday, the 19th of July, which means I've been on TikTok for 6 weeks, YouTube for 4 weeks, and a little longer on some other platforms, but not doing this kind of thing. Just as my social media, Instagram, Facebook, right? I wanted to do the Who Am I video again because I want folks to understand how I got here and what I'm trying to do. And what I'm trying to do is help my fellow Americans back home understand what's at stake here and why it is so critical that we support the defense of Ukraine in the face of this Russian aggression. And I'm only talking about me so that you trust me and understand who I am and why I'm doing this. And I'm a pretty regular guy. Except I had two careers, parallel careers, and that confuses people sometimes. They wonder why I'm talking about the Russian budget when I'm an actor. Like, how can I do both of those things? So here's what happened to me. I grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania. I went to an IHM school, and then I went to a Jesuit university where I received degrees in English and philosophy, 4-year degrees. And I got minors in economics and theater because I wanted to be an actor. And so what does that qualify me for? Not much. I mean, I guess basically what I can do is write a thoughtful, well-written explanation of all the reasons your theater is going broke. That's about what I got. And like a lot of Americans, when the war here started, I thought, that's a pity. But the Russians will be in Kyiv in 3 days. It'll be over. Actually, no, I thought the Russians will be in Kiev because I hadn't yet learned to pronounce the name of this city properly. I was still pronouncing it like a Russian, like most of us have always done, right? But then that didn't happen. And then there was that 40-mile column of tanks that never moved again after they stalled. And then I found myself cheering for these folks. And I watched the war on the TV for a year. And then one night I was in a bar in Erie, Pennsylvania, and talking to my buddy and his wife about the war here. And the bartender comes over, and as he drops my wings on the bar in front of me, he says, "Oh, Petey, you're listening to all the wrong people. Right? There's no war over there. It's all a hoax so the Biden crime family can launder money." I got those wings to go, I got to tell you. And I never set foot in that bar again. Because the idea that I could hear such nonsense, such obscene, ridiculous nonsense from one of my fellow Americans was insane to me. I went home that night. I booked a flight to Warsaw and a sleeper car to Kyiv the next day. Did it. And I became determined to come over here and be of assistance in some way. And the reality is that I don't have any of the skills these people really need, right? I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a military person. And I have these degrees in English and philosophy, economics and theater. I tried to be an actor. I failed, right? The last acting job, real job I had, I got fired by Woody Allen himself off the set of Celebrity in 1998. This is a true story. I swear to God, I thought Leonardo DiCaprio was going to punch me in the face that day. Anyway, and then I went into technology, and I had a 27-year career in technology. It's a mediocre career, not a great career, but it's technology, so you do all right, you know. Worked for the Microsoft Corporation as an IT evangelist for a long time, and then as curator of the Microsoft library for the Skillsoft Corporation, which at one time was a large company. But it got bought by some people, and they broke it up Gordon Gekko style. And so I have these varied skills, and none of the NGOs wanted me. I applied to a double dozen NGOs and different organizations. I don't speak the language here. Nobody wanted me. But I found a little theater here in Kyiv that needed some help after 2 years of COVID and a year of war. Can you imagine? The Pro-English Theater Company, which is a great organization. I encourage everybody to support them if you can. And I went to work over there for 3 months, just helping out as best I could. I decided I was going to come here for 3 months. It's an arts organization. I support that. And when that 3 months was up, I didn't want to leave. I fell in love with this city and these people. And I am still astounded by how really people don't have any idea what's going on over here or how important it is. And so I'm going to stay over here, and I'm going to try anyway. The fact is I'm just about out of money. And so I'm going to start a Patreon, and I'm going to start a consulting business. I'm going to call it Presentations, Projects, and Proposals in English. And it will provide English language support to the tech community, principally, and anybody else that needs it over here in Ukraine. And the Patreon, hopefully, I don't need much to survive over here. So check it out. And if you can help me out, that would be great. Because I think that what happens here, we are at an inflection point in history. And what happens here will affect all of us for generations to come. Thank you, my friends.